person living on the planet passed away yesterday.
She was the oldest person on the planet.
Oldest person on the planet, verified. I don't know if you carry around.
She was verified?
She was verified?
Was she verified?
Okay, let me finish talking. I don't know if you carry around a badge with like an O. It means like you're the oldest person on the planet. But she was born in 1903. So if you think about it.
And she died yesterday?
She died yesterday, 119. So you saw, that was the same year that the Wright brothers basically made flight popular, like invented. You saw World War I. You were like, what, 15, 12? Somewhere around you saw World War I. You saw World War II, iPhones, the internet. You talk about writing an autobiography?
I bet she is from Asia.
Yeah, Japan.
Just don't want to live that long.
And she said she drank sodas and loved chocolate.
Really?
So maybe we're all doing it right.
I might live till 300.
Yeah, if that's the case, you'll never die.
We're talking about
if it's Red Bulls, sodas, and chocolate.
It's not Red Bulls. It's definitely not Red Bulls.
She did not say anything about it.
I mean, let's get a pie chart and really look at it.
First of all, she could have been. We're talking about someone who could have been on the Titanic and gone to space with Elon.
She could
have done both of those things.
She's seen every world war. Every world war. Vietnam, the Cold War, going to the moon, you know.
If you want to ask a person if aliens are real or not.
For sure. Well, I wonder if you get that old, if you just disappear. Like you don't, it's like, to me, it just makes me think of the Avengers movie where like Thanos snapped his fingers and like half the people, I wonder if she just one day, she just disappeared. Like I don't even know.
There you lost me.
Well, I don't know. You never know.
Now the suits are kind of messed up.
Yeah, they are. Major League Baseball, we need robot umpires. We rewind the top NBA playoff matchups from this weekend. There's a lot of good games. And Tyson Fury enters his so-called retirement in style. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. There's a lot of talk in today's world about people losing their jobs to automation and what that may mean for our society going forward. And since automation seems basically inevitable at this point, we might as well start having automated strike zones in Major League Baseball, seeing as guys like Angel Hernandez still have a job. Dudes miss more calls than an iPhone on silent. And while I personally believe that Major League umpires probably do the best job out of any professional sport when it comes to officiating a game, this is a change we need right now. I'm a purist too, and people will be hesitant because they believe it will alter the game, the nuances, the difference between umpires and pitchers and having to be able to adjust just like we have right now. But my answer, my clapback is very simple. How about we just get the calls right? Don't be mistaken, an automated strike zone doesn't mean that R2-D2 is going to be standing behind home plate, only that the umpire gets notified whether the pitch is a strike or a ball and makes the call accordingly. I believe we'll still have the heated arguments between managers and umpires that we all love, but it would make the game much more efficient, and I think it helps both pitchers and hitters. The umpires will still call safer out, and hell, we already have replay to help with that anyway. It's time we reach for what makes the game the best, and to me, it's having an automated strike zone. And also, by having the robots go to the MLB first, at least we'll have time to watch some good baseball before they take over the world and Will Smith has to save us again. I'm going to go ahead and bring in co-host Blaine Crane, David Cohn here. We have a clip, too, of last night, and I get the argument against it, that it takes away, having to understand, well, this umpire likes to give a little bit here, give a little bit there. His strike zone is a little bit different. You got to operate it around it. But to me, I want the call to be right. I want a strike to be a strike and a ball to be a ball. Now, we have a clip before we get into this. I want to play Angel Hernandez, a guy, you wonder why he doesn't get to call any World Series or anything like that? Because he keeps screwing up. Literally last night, when you look at the ump auditor, the scorecard they give umpires, he was at about 87, 88%. The league average is 94%. So that's a big, big difference from having just an average good night as a Major League Baseball umpire. He also leaned to the Brewers almost a full run, or 0.8 of a run. It's like 0.77, which that's a whole hell of a lot. It's inexcusable. Let's run the clip. Watch Kyle Schwarber, and I think he was justified, literally have a mental breakdown. Ball's outside.
Strike three.
Ball's outside. They call strike 3. Schwarber is losing his mind. If you're on audio, Schwarber's losing his mind. He tossed his helmet. He's looking at the plate, using hand gestures that are about as illustrious as an Eric Carle book right now. Then Girardi's going to come out and argue it too. But Angel Hernandez, this isn't a strike in Major League Baseball, man. Maybe in high school, maybe in small levels of high school, but he did this the whole game. Chipper can't stand him. Schwarber can't stand him. He screwed the Phillies last night really, really bad. Even Josh Hader, who is an absolute witch on the mound, he's basically throwing frisbees out there. The smirk on his face, you knew that was a ball. You knew that was a ball. So, Cone, I'll go to you first. Should we have an automated strike zone like we are seeing, I believe, in the Atlantic League? Right now, they're testing it out. What do you think?
They are testing it. Yes, consistency and accuracy are never bad things.
I agree.
Now, for the baseball purist point of view, which I think, Blaine, you're going to talk a little bit about your love to see guys thrown out and the arguments that you can see at home plate. As much as baseball fans may love those things, I think seeing the calls be right, especially in big moments, especially in the postseason, is more valuable.
Consistency and efficiency, as you said, is never a bad thing. Blaine, I can understand the old school way, but I love watching guys get tossed. But won't people still be getting tossed?
Not in the same way. We won't see that, what we just saw. Won't see. That was not much fun I just had watching that 15-second clip of Kyle Schwarber absolutely freaking out. It's the best. And even if we do the automated, the best, I think, player to umpire getting thrown out is strikes and balls. It's not safer out. It's not safer out. A check swing, I can understand. But, God, it's just, what we're going to, the only way I would be cool with it, the only way is if the robot, if we did do it, I want to do it. I do want R2-D2 back there. I want the robot throwing players out, players getting in the fights with the robot. Right? That's what I want. If
How does that sound? How does that sound?
Kyle Schwarber, you are out of here. Like, that's what I would want. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it almost, I don't want to, I like it to be a little bit wrong in baseball. Like, let's just not make baseball longer or just more original or lamer than it already is. Like, I like these mistakes. I like seeing these guys freak out on the regular. It's the best. I know consistency is great, but if we're going to do it, then let's do it right and have the R2-D2 from Star Wars be like, well, Schwarber, you blew it.
What if the umpire was a robot behind, and if it was a third strike, it printed out a receipt to let you know if you're safe or out. So you look like Kyle, surprise, you are out.
That's funny.
Your average is 170.
What do you think Kyle Schwarber wants right there? What do you think? After
let me ask.
I know it's cathartic.
But the thing about it is you are just basing this off this one umpire.
No,
MLB umpires, in your opinion,
this has been a conversation.
In my opinion, MLB umpires are realistically better than what? Football referees?
I don't disagree with that.
Football referees and basketball. If this is baseball, this is the last thing I'm worried about in baseball. This hasn't been a huge problem. I think umpires in Major League Baseball do a pretty damn good job umpiring the game.
Well, let me ask you this. And I know the sports are different and there's some nuance there, but how can you argue about not knowing what pass interference is or not knowing what a catch is and then complain when they're trying to find ways to make the call 100% correct? Because if I'm a pitcher, I want to know the strike zone. If I'm a hitter, I want to know the strike zone, and that strike zone doesn't change. I think it'll increase the level of play. I know it's a very high level. I think it'll increase the play even more. And you may actually, the more I think about it, it almost skews toward the hitters a little bit. You may see a little bit more offense. But again, you're not going to lose the arguments. Even the Atlantic League right now, they're having arguments about strikes and balls. Because the thing about the automated strike zone, what looks funny is the way the catcher catches it, a lot of times dictates the way the umpire calls it. So if the catcher is set up,
framing it.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is if the catcher is set up on the outside corner,
sure,
and the ball's thrown really inside, and he has to reach back to catch it and maybe shuffle his feet, that looks like a ball, and most times it's called a ball by an umpire. With that automated strike zone, they'll call it a strike. And as somebody who's watched baseball as much as we have, and the audience out there, it looks like a ball, but it's crossing the plate as a strike. And there's been many examples of that because we get so used to seeing it, and that's the nuance. And like I said, understanding, hey, you're throwing good, the umpire's going to give you a little extra, which I think is BS. I was also a hitter. So.
How about this? Because right now, with the way the challenges work in MLB, you can't challenge balls and strikes. Right?
I don't think you should be able to challenge.
What if you added one extra challenge per team just so that you can challenge, so that this can't happen in the ninth inning of a huge game?
Well, why don't we just get automated strike zones so this can't happen? In the
I get that.
Huge game. But I can see you're trying to be a happy medium.
But is that not a reasonable compromise?
I think you're trying to find a happy medium. I get that. But what I don't understand is how people freak out and not saying you guys are, but how people freak out
I'm
about
freaking out, man.
Yeah, you are freaking out. The schnozberries taste like
They
schnozberries.
do taste like schnozberries.
But how do people freak out about an automated strike zone, but yet we're having rules now where you can run to first on a pass ball without 2 strikes? But
so you're saying we're not fixing the basics?
Well, my thing is that if we can't have our cake and eat it too. We can't say, all right, we want to make these cool changes and then not make one of the most obvious changes for one of the most important parts of the game. It's like looking at a shot clock in basketball. Like they can go back and review if that ball was out of your fingertips before. There's not another sport where, even football, and that's a little bit different, but in football, we still don't know what pass interference is really. We still don't know what a catch is really. Hell, half the time, I can't tell you what a fumble is.
That's funny you bring up football because I was about to say I don't want to jump ahead to the USFL, but they are trying the chip in the football for first downs, which I like it.
Why not?
I've said for several years now could be a great solution. I think we're going to look at things like what you're talking about in the Atlantic Division minor league. We're going to look at how the automated balls and strikes go. We're going to look at things like the chip in the football at USFL. And once we get a larger sample size, I think you'll see some of these bigger leagues try things.
I think you will too. Blaine, what's the Booster Club saying? What do they think? I know we got some old baseball purists in there that are probably.
Hey, while he's looking up something, I do want to make one comment while we're on the subject of umpires. I think a bigger atrocity right now is the fact that a lot of these high school games are being canceled right now because they can't get enough umpires.
It's ridiculous.
When you have parents chasing umpires and following them to their car, and a lot of them are retiring and quitting, saying, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, I think you're going to just get younger and younger umpires is what you're going to do to get them to do it. Now, I came from a family, and Blaine hit us with the Booster Club whenever you're ready, but I came from a family where my father was the type to follow an umpire out to the car. And he would say things that are unforgivable to umpires. And I got a little bit of that.
I've umped some games before.
Yeah?
I spent about 2 years umping. It's not fun.
I can't imagine you getting chased to your car.
Look, one thing I love to do is tossing guys.
Yeah.
I tossed one guy, he said 3 words. Get out of here.
Say one more.
3 words. Not dealing with it. I'm just not dealing with it.
Can you say what they were?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, please don't.
All right, we got Samson7 Smiles with a question here. Adjusting to umpires is a part I love about the game. Can you make adjustments in the game as a player and a coach?
Yes. It varies so much between umpires. And look, Angel Hernandez to me is the worst one. He makes Joe West, look like Elon Musk when it comes down to it. But I do enjoy. I'm a guy that likes the unwritten rules of baseball, number one. So you can kind of see we're in a similar category. But when it comes to balls and strikes and having to adjust, and yes, players have to adjust. Yes, coaches have to adjust. There's a ton of other areas of the game where you have to adjust. But I would rather know as a hitter or as a pitcher, what is a strike and what is not a strike. And to me, I think that takes a whole heck of a lot of pressure off the umpire behind the plate. Now, you can still have arguments, but you've always got an easy way out. It was the robot, man. Don't get mad at me. Go scream at a laptop or something.
If we still have balls,
but I can understand your argument.
If we still have balls and strike arguments after the robot comes in, that's going to be hilarious.
You will. If I was a coach, I would just have some sort of technological equipment that I could break at any point in time. Like just walk out there and yell at the ref and get like a digital camera and like show it to the crowd and look at the computer and just smash it.
Just go out there and throw
that would be what I
water
do.
on them.
So
That's exactly
big
right.
tech theater, basically.
Yeah, listen, we'll dump the Gatorade cooler on it.
Yeah, it'll come down to you're scanning the QR code to talk to the ump.
One more, Blaine, and let's get to the NBA.
All right, Dragoon says, would you compromise and just replace Angel Hernandez with a robot?
I think you could replace Angel Hernandez with my tumbler right there and it'd do just as good of a job. But I don't think he should be. There's a reason, like I said, he's not exactly beloved by everybody and not in every postseason that we ever see for Major League Baseball. And he's been umpiring since Babe Ruth played. So I think that tells you about how far along it is. Yes, they should replace him. But again, to me, it's a full-throated adjustment when you do the automatic strike zone. I'm trying to find a way, and I get the nuance argument that was just brought up, but why would we not be striving to have this in every sport to get every call right? Yeah. Isn't that the point of refereeing or umpiring or whatever, is to get the call
right?
Speaking about getting the call right, NBA's shaking out a little bit, Coney. Where do you want to start?
Celtics Nets is where I want to start. 3-0 lead. 3-0 lead,
What a great place to start.
Great.
What a great place to start. I'd like to look right into the camera, and we got some clips we're going to play, but before this, I would like to say that I never believed in the Nets. I'm like a bad fisherman. I never believed in them. Celtics get Robert Williams back. Ben Simmons. You just quit on everybody. You're a joke. I've said you're a joke. I think you're Charmin Ultra Soft. It's unbelievable. You're going to play in Game 4. Now, you're not going to play in Game 4 because you're down 3-0, basically. Get this dude out of the league. It's sad to watch because he has so much talent, but the dude is a mental problem. He just is. He mentally just can't do it. I'm just telling you right now. And if he comes back and doesn't play good, imagine if he went into game 4 and didn't play good, the hell he would catch from Brooklyn. He's scared of the smoke. He's ducking the smoke, 100% ducking it. But let's go ahead and let's run the clips. The Nets down 3-0. The Celtics got Robert Williams back down low. They're just working them. They big boy them. The Celtics, to me, look like the best team in the NBA right now, to be honest with you. I know that the Warriors were looking good. Jokic went nuts. We'll talk about that in a second. But Patty Mills, good Lord, it's a splash festival. My thing with the Nets is with Durant, who, Blaine, you have a theory that Brandon Ingram monstarred and stole all his talent.
Yeah.
As you can see, the game ending here, the Celtics going to win 109-103. But look, it is what it is right now. The Celtics are the better team. You got one more in Boston. I think the Nets are a 1-point favorite. It's a wrap. I knew the Nets won't win it. I knew the Nets wouldn't go out in the first round. 76ers. I know they took an L to the Raptors the other day. Joel Embiid, thumb, a little bit messed up, but I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Sixers. Sorry, Nets. Bye-bye, baby.
Well, I sat here and rode with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Mm-hmm. And, I heard Charles Barkley say this, and I think it does make sense. It's different when you're driving the bus, and it's a difference when you're riding the bus.
For sure.
When you're a guy who's out there and you have to lead your team in pressure situations to go win the game and go win a series, you haven't really seen Kevin Durant do that.
Had to go to the Warriors to win
Kevin Durant ride the bus to championships, and it's a different level of pressure when you get to that moment. And you look at Kevin Durant right now, and I think half of it is Boston Celtics, the way they play defense. They're probably the best defensive team in the league.
Them and the Heat. I think the Heat are up there too.
But a lot of it's indecisiveness and just aggression. Kevin Durant's been passing off a lot of shots, not driving a lot. It's indecisive in his movement from passing to shooting. And you don't see that with a star player in star moments. Kyrie Irving really hadn't showed up. Kyrie Irving's going to the game. Looks like he has to go to a 9-to-5 and mop all day. Making $1 million to play basketball, and you look like the most depressed kid on the court. I'm not going to go into Ben Simmons. Ben, just go home and play Xbox, cry about it to your mom. I knew you weren't playing in Game 4 when you weren't playing in Game 3. Right? You don't get better in 3 days. Mm-hmm. I knew that. I'm not surprised at this. I think the dude's a coward and will forever be a coward. If I'm a guy on that team, I don't respect you as a human being or a basketball player. But I'm more surprised about the way Kevin Durant's played in this series than anything, because big-time players and big-time moments show up in this game. And the way that the Nets have been playing, I watch every second of this game. It's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. No adjustments. Steve Nash, you come out in a zone. Against this team, it's not going to work. If anything, you got to mix it. You just can't come out in the zone the first half. You saw Jason Tatum just hit 3 after 3 after 3. Their transition defense has been terrible. Just turning the ball over every other possession. And it got to the point where guys weren't trying. And when I saw Steve Nash doing TikTok dances, maybe I should have known they were going to lose this series. But there's the most blame, to my opinion, that goes out to Kevin Durant. There's a lot of talk, especially for me, about you being the best offensive player, which I think you are. But, man, I don't know if you got the dog in you to win it when you're the guy driving the bus.
He hadn't shown that he can do it, and I want to move on. But I'll say this. I don't know what was a worse decision for the Nets, signing Ben Simmons or letting Steve Nash get a TikTok.
Yeah,
Those are two terrible.
I was really hard on James Harden requesting a trade from there. I was really hard on that, and now looking at it, maybe he was onto something. Maybe the environment there is more toxic than we thought. And at some point, we have to start talking about the Celtics not only coming out of the East, but maybe winning this.
Yeah, I almost wonder,
maybe winning this whole thing.
I think it's more about the Celtics than it is the Nets, to be honest with you, with the way that we talk about team ball and being able to win in multiple ways, but had some other games. Where do you want to go next there?
Well, let's stay in the East then. Let's go 76ers Raptors, just because Joel Embiid's finger injury is more serious than we thought. Now, he's not going to have surgery until after the season, but what do you think this means? This could mean a Celtics and Heat Eastern Conference final, I think, Jake.
Yeah, well, it obviously Joel Embiid's your star player. James Harden, he played really well. I know Tybal wasn't able to play when they went up to Toronto. I still like the Sixers to win it. I just do. Tobias Harris, to me, I think is an X factor. I think he's really going to turn it on the next series. They're going to get past Toronto. The thing about a finger injury and a thumb injury in any sport, but especially in basketball, the amount you play with your hands is injuring it even further. A ligament, a strained ligament, it's one thing. A totally torn ligament is a totally different thing. What worries me is going up to get a rebound or somebody going up to block your shot and they miss and they hit your hand. There's so many ways for you to injure that thing even further. And look, Joel Embiid, I know a lot of it's been with his feet, but he's had an injury-ridden past. So I hate it for the Sixers, but I think he'll be able to get through it. The best thing they need to do is get this series over with. They need to get this series over with, get him some rest, let him, do whatever you got to do, keep taping it up, tightening it up, whatever. But I still like the Sixers because they're getting it from different guys. Joel Embiid, he's going to be consistent. James Harden, he hadn't been scoring 40. He hadn't needed to score 40. What I'm watching James Harden do is, guess what? Not take bad shots. not take bad shots, which gives them extra possessions, which gives Maxey an extra possession to be able to drive, which gives you an extra possession to be able to get it to Joel Embiid, whether it's in the post, whether it's on the perimeter. So it worries me. It does, especially with picking the Sixers and as high as I've been on Philadelphia the whole time. I think they're going to be fine. I love the supporting cast, what we're seeing from the Sixers, because you got to have more than one guy.
Yep. All right. The Bucks have bounced back. They're up 3-1 on the Bulls. Great games the last 2 games. Thoughts there?
Giannis is just on a different planet. When you watch Giannis, when he gets the ball, and you know, he'll hit a 3 every now and then. He can shoot well enough to keep you honest. But when he gets going downhill, I don't know what you're supposed to do outside of attempt to get a charge. And most of the time they don't call him when Giannis is doing it. To me, it's like watching the kid in 5th grade that's 6'2", while everybody else is a normal size of a 5th grader. And he's just dominating everybody. He can jump higher than everybody. He's about longer than anybody. But he's so good around the rim, and he's physical. The thing I like about Giannis is he isn't a big guy that just relies on length. He's physical. He'll go down there and he'll bang. He'll do those other things. So the Bucks, to me, without Chris Middleton looking the way they looked, and the Bulls and DeMar DeRozan, I know he dropped 41 the other night, but it hasn't just been perfect. You know, so when I'm looking at the Bucks, Giannis to me he's unbelievable. He just
They
unbelievable.
could get Celtics next.
That would be a hell of a
They
series.
could get Celtics
I think
next.
the Sixers would get the Heat.
Yeah.
Those would be 2
What an
great,
Eastern Conference
great
semifinal.
series to watch, man. You look at the Bucks right now; they're just a clearly better team, in my opinion.
They are.
You know, the Bulls would legitimately have DeMar DeRozan would legitimately have to drop 40 points a game for them to be close. I mean, this Grayson Allen stepped up in the last couple games. Brooke Lopez is always nice. I mean, and you got Giannis.
Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis killed me on rebounds. I watched Giannis.
I took him to get a double-double
Portis.
yesterday.
I watched Giannis get Bobby Portis get every rebound, you know, which I hated because I had the over for Giannis rebound. But man, they're a complete team. They do it on both sides. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to double Giannis. Right?
Yeah.
And they have guys that who you leave open will hit shots. And that kind of goes back to the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics can give it to you any way they want to. I mean, they had guys coming off the bench hitting shots. I mean, you got Brown, you got Tatum, you got Al Horford, and then you got Smart. I mean, these guys are just 1 through 5 are just absolutely sturdy in what they do. And that's tough to beat, especially with a team that you have an identity, especially based on defense. It's just tough to beat over a 7-game series. And right now, I mean, you really look around and who's playing better than Jason Tatum right now in the playoffs?
Look, it's a good point.
Valuable question.
Yeah, I do want to say real quickly on the Nuggets-Warriors, this series is going to be over. The Nuggets aren't going to have enough, but Jokic is unbelievable, man. He's unbelievable. Watching this guy play, watching the way he stuffs the stat sheet, he should win MVP. I know Jamal Murray's been out for over a year, and just looking at Jamal Murray's face on the bench, I can tell how bad it's hurting him, and I hate it for him. But Jokic is unbelievable. You know, Pell's Suns, 2-2.
Getting interesting.
2-2. This was my one going out on a limb. I still feel like the Pels have a chance to win the series. We got a clip here. I mean, look, and I'll say, the free throw disparity in this game was nuts.
45 to 15.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I can understand Monty Williams not exactly being thrilled about it and Chris Paul not being thrilled about it. But the Pels, man, you go down to the blender when it matters. You're not just walking away without getting chopped up a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and run the clip here. The Pels, again, are they the most explosive team? No, but they play together. They play hard. You're watching the Suns here. The Suns have made runs in the fourth quarter. I thought Jose Alvarado coming in, shutting down Chris Paul in the fourth quarter because he's been absolutely murdering the Pels in the second half. As we see, it's under a minute now. Pelicans up by 16. Now they're up by 18 after the dunk there. But Jose Alvarado coming in and locking up Chris Paul, getting them confidence, watching them finish a game. Now it's a 3-game series.
Yep.
You're 2-2. It's a 3-game series. You got to win one in Phoenix. You've already shown that you can win one in Phoenix. Devin Booker isn't coming back. To me, though, I feel like you got to win the next one. Like, you got to win the next one because if you go back Game 7 to Phoenix, you're not winning it. You're not winning it. I'm just telling you, you're not winning
With or without Devin Booker.
With or without Devin Booker.
The Jazz-Mavs series is getting interesting.
Luka.
Here. A lot of people had Jazz sweeping, right? Luka came back, put up 30 and 10 in 34 minutes. That series is tied at 2 apiece. You feeling a little better about the Mavs now?
When Luka comes back, and it was good just to see him play injury-free out there.
And they still lost.
They still lost. But the fact that this series without Luka was 2-1 Dallas going into this game, I expect the Jazz to win at home, even with Luka in the playoffs. This game was tight. To me, thought the Mavs should have won. But let's watch Luka right here in this clip because he is one of the few guys in the NBA that will embarrass you in slow motion. Like literally burn you in slow motion. Watch him working at the top of the key here, between the legs again. I'm going to give it to you to the right. I'm going to step back. Let me tell you a story about the time you got beat. Luka, to me, is so deadly, whether it's mid-range, whether it's perimeter, even driving. And it's not the prettiest thing in the world. It's not the most quick twitch thing in the world. But to me, it's almost like the guy coming in Major League Baseball that throws 90 as opposed to like 97 that you're used to seeing. Sometimes those guys are hard to hit.
Yeah.
Like, because they're doing things in other ways than you've seen it done before. So I like the Mavs to win the series still. The Jazz, again, Donovan Mitchell kind of disappeared a little bit in the second half. They just continued to let me down. And I got to quote Stephen A., it's Murphy's Law. Anything bad that can happen will happen to the Jazz in the playoffs.
Well, you touched on the Nuggets a little bit. At least they won't get swept there. Heat, Hawks. Look, the Hawks just don't have enough, right?
Trey, you got to start playing better, man.
Don't have enough.
I'm sorry. I know you're getting double stuff, but there's times where you're just not being assertive enough. You know the best way, and I don't understand why he hadn't done this. He's just kept trying to pass from the perimeter out of double teams instead of driving and drawing fouls. Driving and drawing fouls. He has not done that yet. He has not tried to take it to the rack a bunch. I think he tried twice the other day. One time he got swatted. Go in there, draw a foul, loosen up that defense. That'll help you on the perimeter get open for threes. If you're able to drive and beat double teams, or drive and get around and then kick, that's the only time the Heat have really had success. Look at all the corner threes they've made because they're driving and kicking. But the Hawks, the only success they've had. Again, John Collins coming back, that's great. I don't think Trae Young's a superstar. I just don't. You lost the Luka trade. I'm sorry. I know you got two other picks for it. You lost the Luka trade. Luka's a way better player than Trae Young. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. And he's bigger.
I'm not arguing against him on that, man.
I don't think either team lost this trade.
If you had to pick one team,
is a superstar.
I don't think he's a superstar.
Yeah, he's a superstar.
Okay, well, how about this? We'll phrase it like this.
You're basing that off a team who's the number one in the East and one of the best defensive teams in
I'm basing
the NBA.
It off.
Is Kevin Durant a superstar?
I'm basing. Yes, Kevin Durant's a superstar. Kevin Durant won a championship.
Okay, well, Trae Young's basically averaged more points than Kevin Durant in this series.
Okay, that's a different way to look at it. You got to look how the team's built. That team revolves around Trae Young. The Nets can revolve around Kyrie or KD. There's no Kyrie on the Hawks.
Okay, so if you're Trae Young, which you're getting doubled and tripled, getting picked up full court, I mean, realistically, what else do you want him to do?
Wow, well, I guess anytime anybody ever gets double teamed, you'll never score. Well, it's amazing LeBron
the kid dropped, I want to drop 24, 25 the other day.
He's not making the plays when they need him, and he's not making the right plays. Turning the ball over. He looks very unorganized, and it looks like he's afraid to drive the ball.
So Trae Young.
I don't think Trae's a superstar.
Trae is not a superstar.
You put Trae Young in the same category as Kevin Durant?
As an all-star?
How many superstars?
As an all-star?
How many superstars do you think are in the NBA?
Okay, well, what do you base it on? Okay, so Kevin Durant. Who would you say, okay, superstars? Who would your superstars be?
LeBron, KD. I think looking down low, Joel Embiid, Giannis. I don't want to put Devin Booker there yet. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. I'd put Luka there. I'd put Luka as a superstar. I'm going to go down the list as Kyrie. Put him as a superstar. Jason Tatum. Put him as a superstar. I mean, Steph Curry, obviously. I wouldn't put Klay as a superstar. I think you legitimately got 10 to 12 superstars.
So Jokic is not a superstar. He's about to be
Jokic. Jokic superstar.
How about Jimmy Butler?
I wouldn't say Jimmy's a superstar. I think he's a star. I think there's a big difference between a superstar.
How about Ja Morant?
Ja's a star right now. Let me see these playoffs a little bit because I judge you what you do in the post.
I'm not going to go as far as to say the superstar.
I judge you what you do in the
post. But I will say,
is James Harden a superstar?
No.
Stuff. I won't go the superstar route, but I'll say it's starting to look like maybe the Mavs won that trade. Or if it makes you feel better, how about this? Atlanta didn't lose that trade. They just came in second. They just came in second.
You both got all-stars.
You can't give everybody trophies. No. All right, let's go.
Let's go. You gonna get out of the first round?
Yeah.
Mavericks going to get out of the first round, maybe, and then get killed.
Yeah, well, the Hawks ain't even getting out of the first round.
Well, what about the Hawks last year? Ran deep with Trae Young. Was he a superstar last year?
Again, I'm talking about right now. The whole regular season, it wasn't like Trae was dominant in the clutch the whole regular season.
So only being dominant in the clutch makes you a superstar.
It's one of the biggest things. How
about that's playing at a superstar level every year?
Yes. Well,
Trae Young has done that.
What is making
the fact
that
we're arguing whether Trae Young is a superstar? It makes no sense.
We are not. Yeah, we are not. Don't use the royal.
Speaking of superstars,
whoever gets picked
number. We'll see what the Boost Club thinks. Speaking of
rapid
superstars,
fire?
you want to go NFL draft real quick?
Oh, NFL draft. Okay, you want to do rapid fire after the?
Yeah, let's do rapid fire after the
Okay,
break.
well then let's do. Who's going number one in the NFL draft, boys? We're going to be breaking it down all week. All right, Thursday night, first round, but at least we can talk about who we think is going to go number one to the Jaguars, unless you guys think they're going to trade that pick away, which I don't. Think
I'm excited to talk with Trey Wingo tomorrow about this. I know he's out there in Vegas. I think he got out there today. Shout out our boy Trey. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a good NFL player. I think he's going to be a good NFL player. Give me Walker from Georgia, though.
Trayvon?
Give me Trayvon. Give me Trayvon Walker from Georgia. I think he has more upside. And I watched the film, and it's tough to look at one game, Michigan playing Georgia, but I listened to what the guys say that had to play him. Guys like Jamari Sawyer. Like, they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. He had to go up against Trayvon all the time in practice. When I'm against Aiden in a game. I know those are two different things, but he's seen more Trayvon. I get it. But to me, if I'm drafting, I am taking Walker over Hutchinson. Not saying that Aiden's not going to be a good player. I'm not even saying that Aiden's not going to make a Pro Bowl. But I don't think he is this elite J.J. Watt type guy that everybody thinks he is. He had a great year last year. What did he do before that, really? What did he do before that? What did he have, 4.5 sacks? 2-3 years, something like that? So to me, I think it's a little bit of recency bias. He looks great off the huff. He's athletic. He tests well. But give me Walker from Georgia.
Blaine?
Said the other day, Trayvon Walker's the best player in this draft.
But will he go number one?
Yeah.
I think he will. I
don't know why he wouldn't. I mean, I don't think if you're the Lions, you would lose by taking Aiden Hutchinson. I don't think you're just it'd be a
Hometown
huge, disappointment or something like
No.
that. I get it, but I think
No, the Lions have the 2 pick, though.
Yeah, Lions have 2 big. Jags are
you're
going.
saying-
Jags, excuse me.
I was saying,
Yeah, the Jags, excuse me. How could I not forget the Jags?
Well, you think Trayvon's going first, so obviously he'd fall to 2.
It's just, and I don't think he's the difference level is that much. I don't think
it is
gap
either.
huge,
I agree.
But I do think he has more in his bag, right? Just right now as an NFL player, you put him in right now, he's good to go.
I think Aiden Hutchinson is the real deal. I think he will be a great NFL player. I think he and Trayvon Walker both have higher floors and higher ceilings than Thibodeau. Okay,
I agree on
think
that.
they're right there. I think
I'd take
floors
Jermaine
are higher.
Johnson before I took Thibodeau.
Okay.
I'm
There
telling you
go.
right now.
Okay. So I think both of them have a high floor. Both of them have a high ceiling. I think they'll be great pros. It sounds like the Jags are looking at 4 different people. I don't know who the 4th is, but I think the 3 for sure are the 2 we're talking about and Evan Neal. And I think when it comes time to put that pick in, they're going to be looking at Trevor Lawrence and they say, we got to protect him. I think they'll go Evan Neal from Alabama.
I don't think you can ever go wrong on the edge,
Yep.
whether it's a pass rusher or whether it's an offensive tackle. But we're going to be breaking down the NFL draft like Dance and Rick from Starsky and Hutch starting
For
tomorrow.
sure.
So get ready for that. But we got to get to the Booster Club, too, heavy in the second half. If you want to watch or listen to the rest of the show, head over to thedailywire.com, become a member, or listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review. We want to keep shooting up the charts and share it with your friends. We got a ton of great stuff coming after the break.